Hi, I'm Shane with HR.com. Today you're going to be taking a look at, I'm going to walk you through the installation on the SuperSprings Sumo Springs on your 2014 Toyota Tacoma. Springs are designed to work with your factory leaf springs to add support for your suspension when carrying a load. And they're going to make your driving experience much more comfortable because it's going to reduce that bottoming out effect you get when carrying a load without the springs. This is what our springs are going to look like when they're installed. And I want to point out something. If you notice, with our new spring installed, our factory bump stop that we previously removed, you'll notice the gap here between the frame rail and the top of our jounce stop or bump stop. With our new spring installed, we don't have that gap. So with our factory jounce stop, what happens is when we're carrying a load, this gap closes. So that brings the back of our vehicle down, which causes sag. With our new one installed, we're reducing how much sag we're getting out of our vehicle when we're carrying a load because that space is filled up. We're also reducing the body roll and sway we get. With our factory jounce stop, because of that gap when we're carrying a load, we turn a corner or go over a bump, our body wants to do this. So they're going to hold up in all weather conditions. They're going to hold up to road salts, oils, and UV rays. They're going to have a weight capacity of 2,800 pounds. However, that being said, you want to make sure you're not exceeding the vehicle's total weight carrying capacity. What's going to separate these from others is, say, if you compare these to like airbags. If you install airbags, they're nice, they work, but you have to monitor them. You're going to have to add air and you have to pull air out when you're using them and not using them. With airbags, you also have the potential of leaks from your lines. With these, you put them in, you leave them alone, it makes your ride much more comfortable, even when you're not loaded. Before we begin our installation, we're going to take a few measurements to get our factory ride height. What we're going to do is we're going to measure from right down the center of our wheel, from the ground to this edge right here. We're going to do that on the front and the back. So without it loaded, it's like we're at 35 3/4 in the back. Let's take a measurement of the front. Looks like we're right at 34. Now let's add some weight and see what it does to our vehicle. Now that we've added about 1,500 pounds to the back of the vehicle, let's go ahead and take another measurement and see how much it changed. We're at about 32.5. Our factory ride height was actually 35 3/4, which is here. So we actually dropped that much. Now let's take a measurement of the front and see what it did. So our factory ride height was actually 34, and we've only come up about 3/4 of an inch. So that tells us as we add weight, the front of our vehicle raises up. Now, keep in mind we're right over the axle. If we are pulling a trailer that might have more tongue weight on it, the front of our vehicle may come up more. Well, that's going to cause a lot of issues. It could cause your headlights to come up, not aim at the road anymore. Your steering's going to be really light. It's going to affect your braking because most of your braking in a vehicle is on the front. Your back brakes just assist your front one. So if those wheels are up off the ground, or at least not touching the ground as much, you're not going to get as much braking power out of the front, which can be dangerous. It's going to cause unnecessary wear and tear on your tires because when your vehicle raises up, those tires will turn in like this, and then you're just running on edges. You're going to put unnecessary wear and tear. It's going to cost you money later on. Now, what does it do to the back of the vehicle? Well, when you put weight on, whatever your suspension can't handle, your axle has to make up for it. So that's going to put unnecessary wear and tear not only on your suspension, but on your axle, and it's going to cost you more money later on down the road. Now that we've added our springs, same amount of weight, let's go ahead and take another measurement. With our new springs, same amount of weight, we're at 34 3/4. So it actually only dropped our vehicle about an inch in the back. So that tells us that our new springs are working the way they're supposed to. They're taking up a lot of the extra weight that our factory suspension can't handle. That's going to take a lot of stress off our rear axle, and it's not going to cost us money later on. Now let's go ahead and take a measurement of the front. Looks like we're still at 34 3/4, which is what it was before we had our springs installed. So that's telling us that these springs are going to be designed for light duty hauling. These aren't adjustable, so we're not going to be able to pick up that back end like you could with an airbag. But that being said, these are going to be designed to make your ride more comfortable because you're not going to have to put any air in them or take any air out. We don't have to watch the adjustment. We don't have to replace anything. You put them in and you leave them. They're going to make your ride when you're unloaded comfortable, as well as the ride comfortable when you're loaded. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let's show you how to get it installed. First thing you want to do is remove your spare tire. It's going to make it a little bit easier to for your installation. Now, I have this on a stand. I'm also using this kind of a stand to separate my axle from my frame rail. If you're doing it at home, you can use jack and regular jack stands. What you want to do is you want to jack up the vehicle, put your jack stands under each frame rail to get your axle to drop. You want space in between there for the new Sumo springs. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a 3/4 inch socket. Your U-bolts that run over top of your spring, you're going to have one on this side of the axle and one on the other side. You're going to have 4 nuts on the bottom. Spray those threads down with some penetrating oil just to kind of knock off any debris or anything like that might be caught in the threads. Take a 3/4 inch socket and we're going to loosen the nuts. We're not going to take them all the way off. Like that. So get you enough space in there where you can lift these up. You're going to remove your factory jounce stop. And we just replace it with our new spring. Put your U-bolts over the ends, just like that. And then we'll tighten the nuts down. Once you've got one side done, repeat the process on the other side. Reinstall your spare tire and you're ready to go.